Good evening from John McMullen. We have had a bit of a technology glitch recently as I updated from a trial version of Debut, you could pronounce it D-E-B-U-T, which is a video recording program for the Apple Macintosh. And I upgraded to the professional version, and of course it didn't work properly. And I went back and forth to company, and now everything seems to be working properly. So I've been using that. I started my classes at SUNY Purchase last night, and they went very well. Now, my only concern is we are turning out very bright people, and we do not have any policy for what happens as the world changes around them. And perhaps they aren't being taught that the most important thing they can do is adapt to changes. And hopefully they'll make out. But it leads me right into my normal topic of creative disruption. However, our technology innovation changes everything around us, and very often under the radar. We don't notice it until we walk to the mall and we find there aren't no music stores anymore. There aren't no bookstores anymore. There aren't no film processing stores. It only hits home if we or some members of our family are put out of work. So I'll be teaching that course, and then I also have the lecture to do on Vannevar Bush to Marist seniors, who are the same group that I'll be teaching an 8-week volunteer course in creative disruption, which is the subject of my ongoing articles for the West of the Guardian. But the Vannevar Bush was the science advisor to FDR during World War II. He had previously been dean and vice president of the engineering school at MIT. He was one of the founders of the Raytheon Corporation. And as Roosevelt science advisors, he had line responsibility for the development of the atomic bomb and for the development of the first working electronic computer, the ENIAC, developed at the University of Pennsylvania's Moore School of Engineering by John Markley and J. Presper Eckert. Well, his possibly his most important contribution to us, something they did directly, was an article that he wrote in the August 1945 Atlantic Monthly, As We May Think. And it was aimed at what do we do with these computers? What will they help us do now that we have them? And everyone was talking about business processing and all different things. He said that they can help us gather information in the way that we think and we need it. And he pointed out that human beings think in an associated fashion. If I were to mention Franklin Roosevelt, you might sidetrack to Eleanor Roosevelt or to the Manhattan Project, and you might then gather information about that, but then flip from there to something else and then something else, or come back. That has come to be called and named by Ted Nelson hypertext, and then hypermedia, because then we started doing it with videos and with pictures. Uh, but his article laid out what 50 years later would be the World Wide Web. He had all the technology wrong because that was all that we had at that time, but he had someone sitting at a desk by some kind of a typewriter, and they would be looking things up. But the way they would look them up is if they wanted to do something about FDR, they would click or point at FDR or type Franklin Roosevelt, and then it would get information. And in the process of reading the information, they might be interested in something about Eleanor Roosevelt or about Harry Hopkins, who had to be mentioned in the article. Once they were, you could go deeper and you could find out more about Harry Hopkins or Eleanor Roosevelt. So the idea is instead of going top to bottom, they may be going halfway down and deeper, and you may never come back. Or you may, after you finish reading about Harry Hopkins, then come back to the article and go on a little more to read about something else. So that's where we're going. And it's one of the problems that we have with the students I mentioned earlier, who I was teaching, very bright, but no one's hitting them over the head with the fact that a highly competitive world, They may have to settle for the jobs. Things have changed dramatically, and it's a little unrealistic, but it's because our the legislators don't seem to be able to wrap their arms around any changes that we can project as taking 8, 9 years, 10 years, perhaps, as jobs keep decreasing and if online services keep increasing, and we still see people displaced. What do we do? How do we prepare for that? Well, Congress and the White House seem no interest now. The only person other than the articles that I've been writing, and I'm up to 78 of them now for the Guardian, uh, uh, on this particular subject. They also do some sports and some movies and some other things. But uh, to what to what do we do? Who is talking about this? No one in the government. Robert Reich, the ex-secretary of Labor, is. He's been writing about it. The people who work in the area understand it, who work in technology, but who's going to do anything about it? They can't bring pressure. There are two professors from MIT who have a book out, Race Against the Machine, and they're working hard at it, but very few people are listening to them. Mother Jones magazine has a whole scenario that says after 2040, we'll all be calm and everything will be working together, and that we will have the smaller amount of people in the 1%. They will be by taxes. They'll be supporting those who can't work. Uh, it's like Alien Intelligence, which is the name of the book by James Martin. But this may or may not happen. I do know that it's going to be very difficult to reduce the number of people out of work, particularly since our government keeps saying that the jobs will come back when the economy comes back. Well, the economy has come back, but the jobs aren't necessarily coming back, and we have to take charge of this problem. Unemployment is a problem. It debilitates people's psyches. Oh, I can't get a job, and I can't do this, and it's very difficult. So we have to educate the lawmakers. The lawmakers can't even decide on what to do in the next 3 months. Now, all of a sudden, we're saying 2 years is going to take, perhaps. So we have to repair cars. We have to be able to make them fuel efficient. We have to do whatever is possible to make it easier for our population to travel around. Well, so I've been going on and on about different things tonight because perhaps I'm still a tad hyper from having to walk a mile carrying things from the car, but it could be worse. I could have been stalled on the Cross Westchester Expressway yesterday, either going to school or coming from school. And there wouldn't have been any sympathy for me then, nor do I really uh, expect any now. But what I would like to see is the people that live in faraway places, as that song goes, faraway places and strange sounding names, to get in touch with me, John Mac 13, JOHNMAC 13 at gmail.com, and to lay out to what you're doing. My website that links to everything is on the bottom of this page. That's www.johnmac13.com. So hope to hear from you soon. And until next time, see ya.